I want to welcome you all to an episode of the Jason Beck Show. I'm your host, Jason Beck. On today's show, I thought we'd talk about, the Trump rally. I don't know if any of you have saw it or have seen it yet. Took place in Tulsa, Oklahoma, on last night, on Saturday night, June 20th, and I have to say that one thing that I can really and truly agree with when it comes to Donald Trump, when he said, we are going to stand for the national anthem. We're not going to just, and I totally and 100% agree with him. A lot of people are like, well, it's not about the military. It's not about disrespecting the flag. Yes, you may not think it's about that. And in your mind, you know what? It may be a totally different issue, but let me tell you the right way to protest during a national anthem. And not be like Colin Kaepernick, where he took a knee and he was trying to get his message was blurred out because he offended a lot of people. A lot of people were angry with him and mad at him for what he was doing. So that is why wrong time, wrong place, buddy. You should have, stood up, hand over your heart, standing up for national anthem, hold the sign of any victims. These are victims, not thugs, not like Rayshard Brown. That man is a thug. He punched the police officer, stole the police officer's taser, almost shot the police officer in the face. He was not all there in the head, and he was a danger to the police and to anyone else in the public. So the officer was not in the wrong for shooting at him. He was in the right. And the officer should not be charged for murder. That was self-defense. And last time I checked, the police do have the right to defend themselves. You shouldn't be punching a police officer. You shouldn't be shooting tasers at a police officer. And shouldn't be refusing arrest. That's just going to make the situation worse. I'm like, yes, officer. I understand, officer. I'm sorry, officer. I understand. Be respectful. Because I tell you what, the judge is going to have more lenience on you if you're respectful and courteous to the officers versus now, Rayshard Brown, he's not even alive. And he did that to himself. He should have stayed home and not driving while under the influence of alcohol. If that was so much of an issue for him, he should have been in that Alcohol Anonymous. So, and then I'm sure a lot of you have gotten a lot of people have gotten angry because of what Drew Brees said. And to be honest, what Drew Brees said, I commend him for it. He had family members that served in the armed forces. And when you stand, you are respecting this nation. You're respecting for all the men and women that have fought for this country. And the degrading of the statues that's going on, yeah, I just saw a video clip or a picture of George Washington's statue on the ground, and people had spray paint and degraded it, and then they said, F the police. Really? That's not going to get your message across. I'd hate to say it. Your tactics, your antics, that is not the way to go about it. Not the way at all. It needs to be done in a more diplomatic, in a more peaceful protest. I had someone that pointed out that, my generation degraded, took down the Saddam Hussein statues and stuff. Saddam wasn't a good leader. Now, should those statues maybe go into a museum as part of their history? I think so. Even though he was not the greatest leader in the world, but he was not Hitler. I'll tell you that much. Because I don't know if you heard the phrase that those who try to erase the past or ignore it are destined to repeat it again. If you ignore the Civil War history, if you ignore the history of the Confederacy, if you ignore the history of the Union and the Indian Wars and all that, you're destined to repeat history over again until you learn it. A lot of people they have tunnel vision, tunnel hearing. They only want to see and hear what they want. They don't want to hear that there were freed black men in the South that fought for the Confederacy Army. They don't want to hear that there are freed black men that had their own plantations and their own slaves. They don't want to hear that. They just want to convict everyone. Well, every person in the Confederacy, every person in the South is bad. Do they even know what the Confederate flag represented? That represented their colonies. It had nothing to do with slavery. And to let people know, slavery was a part of history then. It was not illegal to have slaves. Did you know in the medieval times they had servants? Yeah. Egyptians had slaves. In fact, they had Hebrew slaves. God did free them through Moses. It was a part of history. It was a part of the culture. Whether if we agree or disagree with it, we like it or not. I particularly don't think people should be slaves. I don't. But why are we fighting over history instead of fighting over the topics that are in front of us or the challenges that are in front of us every day? Why are we not fighting about human trafficking, for example? That's going on right now. That's a form of slavery. Why are we out there degrading statues when we could be fighting for animal cruelty? There's lots of issues that are going on right now in the present that we could be working on to fix instead of being crybabies and crying because you don't like something about history. I would say to any of those people that are being crybabies to get over it. That's part of our history, either you like it or not. Put your big girl, big boy panties on and grow up. And get over it. How would you like it if, a team of rioters, went to your church and started tearing down pictures of Jesus or your religious statues and stuff or anything? Y'all wouldn't like it, would you? What if they tried to erase the history of the Catholic Church or the history of Christianity or if you're a Muslim, they try to erase the history of Muslims or Mormons or whatever religion that you are. How would you like that if someone stepped in and like, you know what, we're going to just tear down all your church buildings, your mosques, your places of worship, and just get rid of it because we don't like it. Just because you don't like something and it may offend you does not give you the right to degrade, to try to erase something from history, try to erase it from the history books, trying to like spray paint over statues, or knocking down the George Washington statue, the first president of the United States. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't even be here in America. If the Pilgrims, the settlers, and George Washington would have said, you know who would have been in control? If we didn't fight back, if we would have said, okay, Britain, we'll do whatever you say. Britain would have been in control of this nation. Was it right that we invaded the land and massacred the Indians? No, that wasn't right. And I'm actually part Indian too, but I'm part Mexican and I'm part German. So, I'm not just all Caucasian. And that was wrong. Have we fixed it throughout the years? Yes, they've given Indians their reservation. We've given them land. They don't have to pay taxes. They get free education. So we have started to right our wrongs that our ancestors have done. But we cannot ignore history. We got to learn from it and have it remind us so we don't repeat that again down the road all over again. History is to remind us of things that we should do better, things that we shouldn't do anymore, and things that we should change in our society and in our cultures. Not to hide, not to spray paint, not to disrespect other people's views, or disrespect the flag, disrespect our country. Because the president of the president of the United States, Donald Trump, the T-Man, he said it right. If you don't like this country, leave. If there are things that you don't like about it, then fix it the right way, not the wrong way, not the way the rioters are doing. I would say the extremist rioters that are tearing down statues and burning buildings and stuff and beating people up. That's not the correct way. Peaceful protest is fine. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Peaceful protest. Peaceful means you don't tear down statues and deface it and degrade it and graffiti all over the place. That's not a peaceful protest. So I really hope that we can learn from history going forward, but not ignore it and not try to erase it and not be disrespectful to others. So I'm going to be signing out for now, but thank you for tuning in for the Jason Beck Show. Like, subscribe, share, unfollow if my beliefs don't match with you, but I really hope you don't. I hope you can be adult enough to respect my views and respect my viewpoints. If you want to help the Jason Beck Show on a monthly basis, you're able to do that as well I will leave the link in the description box below if you want to leave a message, comment. I'll leave the description link below also too. The Jason Beck Show also has gear too. Shirts, mugs, you name it. We got it. We have it. So I will go ahead and link that in the description box below also too. And until next time, try to live a better life. And I would encourage you by living a better life by not being disrespectful to others and by respecting people's viewpoints and opinions. And be better than the others out there that are acting like animals. Take care. Bye-bye.